and welcome to episode 17 of the Project Bag podcast, my podcast about making all the things, living a crafty life and quite a bit of nonsense. My name's Gemma and I'm coming to you as always from my home in Kent, where I live with my husband and our two gorgeous cats, Archie and Kit9. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. So lovely to have you here again. Hopefully you've got something fun to work on and you're not still powering away on those Christmas makes. However, if you are, more speed to your elbow. Hope it's going well and that I don't distract you too much during our chat together tonight. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. It's absolutely lovely to meet you. Would love to get to know you, so if you feel like it, do pop along to the Ravelry group. All the details for that and everywhere you can find me on the internet, just down below for you there. Okay, so I promised you a festive episode. Let's get started, shall we? So first of all, to finished objects. I am going to start by addressing the slight change you may have noticed, my hair. I was just feeling that I needed a little bit of a change. I haven't had my hair done in quite some time, and I picked, feeling fairly brave, this purpley colour, which isn't showing up amazingly in these lights, but I tried recording without the studio lights and I just looked like my hair was bright red, and yeah, anyway. So I'm really pleased with it. Hopefully it looks okay, and yeah, my husband said it looks like I've sacrificed a unicorn upstairs. There's quite a lot of pink in the sink and the bath, so yeah, no unicorns were harmed in the making of this hair. I would quite like to just make that really clear right now. I'm not entirely sure if he then is implying that I'm some sort of Voldemort character, because of course, you know, Harry Potter fans will know that Voldemort did resort to drinking unicorn blood in order to sustain his life in the first book. Okay, second finished object. I have a finished object, an actual knitted finished object. I have just woven in the ends. I could not be more pleased. It is the Boxy. There we are. There's the Boxy for you. I am going to model it, so just bear with me one moment. Okay, so here I am wearing the Boxy sweater. I have knit this in Manos de Uruguay silk blend. It's a worsted weight yarn and I am so pleased with it. I really want a Boxy of my very own. Not convinced I want to knit it though, so we'll see what happens. I have adjusted the sleeves. People who viewed last time, oh, there's a lot of my hair knit into this. People who viewed last time will remember that I said the sleeves were a little bit wee. They were actually quite tight on my friend, so I did pull them back, but we were far too busy watching Bridget Jones' Diary, more on that later, for me to actually get it finished that evening. So, and I saw her yesterday and again didn't have it finished, but I have cast off the second sleeve and I couldn't be happier, especially considering, right, what I did was I took the sleeves right back. So I basically took it right back to where I needed to pick up the stitches again. And I said, you know what, it's not natural to pick up, maybe it's my gauge or something, I don't know, but it wasn't natural to pick up the number of stitches that he'd specified for the size I was doing. I think maybe I needed to do the second size for the sleeves, but I only wanted the first size for the gauge for the positive ease around my friend's body. So yeah, what I decided to do, rather than fandangling about with lots and lots of counting, and counting is not my favourite thing, I just said, look, I'm going to pick up the stitches that feel natural around this sleeve hole that I've got. So that's what I did. So I picked it up, really pleased, did the decreases, cast off, and then went, oh whoops, I forgot to count how many I picked up. Whoopsie. So I did exactly the same on the other sleeve. I just said I'm going to pick up the number that feels comfortable, and actually I think there are a couple fewer stitches on this sleeve than there are on this one, but they're the same length and they fit nicely, and who's going to look that closely, right? I mean, you're not looking that closely, are you? Let me hop up and show you the finished item in all its glory. Okay, so here is Boxy, and as you can see, it is a Boxy sweater. and I absolutely love it. I am so pleased with the fit. You can see my seam there, which disappears beautifully as I get into the swing of whatever it was I was doing originally. I haven't blocked it yet, so it has got a slightly flippy bottom, but it is just so comfortable and so super flattering as well. I mean, I'm really, really self-conscious about my shape. I've lost a lot of weight this year since having my daughter. I did gain an awful lot of weight when I was off work last year. No time for that story now, and who's really interested anyway. I've lost a lot of weight, and I like to wear things that kind of show off my waistline. However, I just love the fit of this. Absolutely love it. I really don't mind that it's big and baggy, and it's so comfortable, and the yarn is so soft. Oh, I should probably pop down here and talk to you, shouldn't I? That'd be better manners. So yeah, I could quite happily stay in this all evening. My friend said that I should talk to you about it and model it, and she reckons it would go well with the purple hair. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it does or if I clash. I clash with most of my clothes now, which is quite worrying. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so anyway, stop looking at your hair, Gemma. Oh my goodness, I seem so vain. If you're new, I promise this isn't me. I'm not like this normally. It's just such a departure from where I was last episode or even this morning that I'm still very much getting used to it. So I am going to take it off, but I will just talk about it first of all a little bit. I have decided to do the first size. This jumper comes up with about 30 inches positive ease. My friend is very slight. Normally, right now, she's 39 and a half weeks pregnant. She's actually due on Christmas Day, so she isn't quite as slight. But I wanted something that would go over the bump if she was to have it when she still had a bump, which is looking less and less likely now. I might drop it off to her on Christmas Eve, we'll see. And would still look flattering and be comfortable and cozy and just a snuggle, like a hug. Gifting a hand knitted jumper is like gifting a knitted hug, something you can snuggle up in, and this is so warm and cozy and so soft, and yeah, it's a little bit of luxury. I think she really deserves it. So there we are. I did alternate skeins. As I said, did the first size, more than happy with the fit. I'm happy with the way it fits me, so it's definitely going to fit her just fine. And I think if I did a boxy for myself, I would also do worsted rather than the 4-ply or fingering weight version, because this took long enough as it was. I'm so not doing it in any lighter yarn. That's a whole lot more knitting that I quite frankly do not have the patience for. And I would do the first size for me as well, and I would probably do the same thing with the sleeves, just pick up what feels natural, because I mean that fits me and it's not stretching too much. I think it will fit my friend beautifully as well. I really like the way the neckline rolls. If I move said purple hair out the way, I really like the way the neckline rolls. It's quite a close neckline, so it's not falling off my shoulders, but it's also not right up here. I don't actually tend to wear tops that come up this high. I just feel personally that it makes me look a little bit like a tank. I probably don't, but you know what it's like. Everyone's got their own thing about themselves that they're not so keen on, and for me that's it. I tend to prefer scoop neck, so actually I really like the way this is finished. Yeah, what else can I say? I took a tip from Amy of Stranded Dyeworks podcast, and when I cast on in the round with all the ribbing, with however many hundreds of stitches it was, I didn't join in the round when I did the rib. I joined in the round after the rib, thus ensuring that I would not get my stitches twisted. Great tip. And I only just sewed it up a few minutes ago actually. What else? I also took a tip again from something I've heard Amy say quite a lot. She knits a lot of sweaters. I think she's knit 13 this year or 14. Luckily she doesn't watch this, otherwise she'd shoot me for getting it wrong. She had this amazing challenge of knitting 12 sweaters, and she's done that and then some, but I can't remember exactly how many. Sorry Amy, not that she's watching. Yeah, anyway, she's knit a lot of sweaters in the round, and one of the things she said is that if she can get the seam to go under the arm rather than down the centre of the back, she likes to do that. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. How do I do that? And I was like, obviously, just start the I separate for the armhole right there, and it works. And I'm really pleased with it. I am really pleased with it. Couldn't really tell you the technique I used to get a seamless finish. I must admit I did it mostly by accident. Freaked out because I wasn't getting a visible seam, thought I must be doing something wrong. So made it so I could see a seam. What was I thinking? I was just having a massive brain fart that day, that's all I can think. Anyway, I'm really pleased with it. I didn't do it by my deadline. I did knock it up fairly quickly. Absolutely love the colour, absolutely love the yarn. I got it on a D-stash from Ravelry, which meant it was actually a lot more affordable than it would otherwise have been if I bought the yarn brand new. And bizarrely, I've got quite a lot of the yarn left over. So I'm not really sure what I will do with it. I'm not sure, maybe I'll knit a cowl or something. I don't know. I really like it. I don't know if there's enough left of the yarn for me to do another boxy or another top. I'm not entirely sure. I had 5 skeins and I have, I think, what works out to 2.5 left. I haven't weighed it yet, but I should weigh it. I should weigh it, and then I could talk to you and say, I have this much left and this is what I'm going to knit. But I am not an organised knitter. I'm going to take this off now because I'm getting a bit warm and I want it to be nice for my friend. Okay, so the studio lights were hurting my eyes. It was just too much. And actually I am sat in the cosiest corner of my living room with the twinkly fairy lights, and I just much prefer the ambience of this, to be honest, than having studio lights glaring down in front of me. So I'm sorry that the lighting isn't quite as sharp as it would normally be. Hopefully it'll be okay and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I do have another finished object. It is not something I have done, it is something that's done for me, and actually I've had it for quite a long time, but I forgot about it with good reason. Let me show you. Ta-da! Isn't it gorgeous? And actually I'm going to have to put the lights back on again, aren't I, so you can see this. Sorry. There we are. Oh, that's better. Isn't that gorgeous? This is one half of a pair of socks that was knit for me by my very, very lovely friend Tracy. She was actually my head of department a few years ago, well, quite a few years ago now. But she was a knitter and I was a knitter, and like with most people, if you knit, you become firm friends. We had a little kind of knit and natter session at lunchtimes in the English office. It was our way of ensuring we actually did get a lunch break, and she is an absolutely fanatical sock knitter. And I am very, very lucky to have received this pair of socks. They actually arrived back in February when I was in hospital. And my husband brought them up to the hospital for me, and I opened them and said, oh, wonderful, these are from Tracy, how lovely. And then they got put in my hospital bag, and with everything that happened, I'm afraid I forgot about them. But anyway, I was sorting through some things the other day, having a sort out, and I came across them, and oh, I just felt all the warm and fuzzies again. But here we are. Let me show you again. Now, I didn't realise at the time when they arrived, I thought, wow, what fantastic colours, how bright, how beautiful. I didn't realise at the time, but I only clicked tonight, that actually this is yarn that I gifted to her and was bought at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, not this year just gone, obviously, because it's February when I got the socks, but the year before. And it is Martin's Lab in the Caterpillar colourway, and it was just the most gorgeous skein of yarn with these bright, bright colours. As you can see, there's a green base, bright pink, bright blue, absolutely fabulous. Yeah, and I am the very, very lucky recipient of these socks, and I've popped them on my sock blockers to show you, and have the thrill of knowing that they actually will fit my feet, because clever lady that she is, she's remembered I've got stupidly small feet, so, and they fit my very small smock blockers. Smock blockers? Oh goodness, we've had enough of smocks and smocking, haven't we, this last week? My very small sock blockers. I keep waving this around, but they're just so beautiful. I absolutely love it. I've got no idea what the pattern is, other than it is beautiful. It's got this kind of diagonal slip stitch pattern. It has a heel flap and gusset like I was talking about last time, and they are going to be so cozy and will remind me of my very dear friend who actually I haven't even been in touch with in months, and I really must because I do miss her. Lucky me. Okay, so on to works in progress, and I've got to dive off screen again for this, sorry. I'm an absolutely terrible liar. I have finished objects in sewing. One of them I don't have because it's been posted out, but I thought I'd show you the finished snowman bags. I'm really pleased with these. These are the two blue ones. The green one has actually sold, it's gone, and yeah, that's gone to its new home, which is really exciting. And I have another finished object which no one has seen yet. Well, you might have seen it if you are one of these people that follows tags on Instagram, because I have been tagged in a post sharing a Harry Potter themed notions pouch. I don't actually offer these in my shop at the moment. It was a get your yarn wishes granted for 2018. The lovely Kim had a wish for a Harry Potter notions pouch, and I was only too happy to oblige. So I made her one and I posted it off, and it arrived this week. And yeah, I made the design from scratch. I haven't actually got a pattern for that, so I'm thinking I might have to introduce them into the shop in the spring. So I will put a picture of it here. And then I will hopefully have some more to show you in the future. Okay, on to works in progress. I very confidently said to my knitters on Sunday that I was starting a new project that morning and I would have it finished by the end of our knitting session, or almost finished by the end of our knitting session. And then I ended up weaving in ends and sorting out mistakes and things like that. And I don't mind, that's my job, and I love doing it. I absolutely love helping my new knitters on their knitting adventures. But yeah, so I actually only got 5 rows of this project done, but here we are. So this is the KAL yarn that I was talking about, the end needs sewing in. The KAL yarn, which is making this gorgeous ruffled scarf. And you can really see it there. It's a little bit gothic, isn't it? A little bit decadent. So yeah, one ball of this works out to one gorgeous scarf. It should only take about 3 hours to finish. I just haven't had time this past week to actually work on it anymore and finish it. My whole focus has been on Boxy, and when it's not been on Boxy, it's been on doing things for the project bag behind the scenes, the actual job, doing my day job, wrapping up at my assignment at the school I'm working at. I am actually going back to the same school, which is really exciting, but I'm covering for someone else. So essentially I had to wrap up one assignment and get ready to hand over to the new teacher and make sure I'm ready for my new assignment there in January. So busy, not a lot of knitting time. So yeah, I've only done that much. That is not living in a project bag at the moment. It is just slung in my big Ragged Rose project bag, which has most of my whips in, as I took that with me to knitting. Another whip that has seen quite a bit of work but is not quite a hoe is my old school sock. My new design, viewers of the podcast will know this, that I'm actually committing a new design to paper. And here it is, my old school sock. Actually, I've got an idea. Hold on. There you go, that's a bit clearer, isn't it? I am knitting this out of Vintage Christmas, which is a Stranded Dye Works colourway. It was her Christmas colourway in 2017. This year's colourway is Naughty List, which is a little bit spicier. But yes, the rather beautiful and gentle Vintage Christmas. It is a typical sock construction with a standard heel flap and gusset, a nice simple repeating eyelet pattern all down the leg, which twists slightly. You can see it more on that side, you can see the twist there, and then continues down the foot with a stocking stitch under the foot. There we go. So you can see that I've only got a few inches to go before I'm ready to start shaping for my toe, as my trusty sock blocker is showing me. And yeah, I'm very happy with that at the moment, very happy. That's it for creative content. It's been, as I said, a funny old sort of week. It's been full of Christmas preparation, wrapping up for my assignment, and yeah, not a lot of knitting time or creative time. Lots of thinking about creating, and I thought I'd share with you what I'm hoping to get up to over my Christmas break, and also let you know what's happening with regards to the Christmas break as well. Hold on one sec. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to show you, actually, before I go on to any of what I just said I was going to go on to, very professional, Gemma, well done, is a little bit of acquisition talk. I have been very good. I have not done any more damage with regards to my yarn diet per se, but I have had something rather beautiful arrive. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's beautiful. I might actually be in love. It's just triumphant. Look at those colours. I had to leave the studio lights on for this. My eyes are just streaming because of the brightness of the lights, but wow. 100% British blue flaced, apparently. Flaced. There we go. 100% blue faced Leicester Aran yarn. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. It's gorgeous. Just, I mean, the colours, and it's Aran yarn. I love Aran yarn. Oh my goodness, it's just such a triumph. There's a story behind this. This is Celia McWheely, and I actually took part in her Kickstarter campaign. She had a Kickstarter campaign for opening a bricks and mortar yarn and fibre spinning shop up in Glasgow, and I couldn't not support a fellow maker, knitting enthusiast, fibre enthusiast to follow a dream. And I was in two minds as to whether to just donate, but as part of the Kickstarter campaign there are rewards, and if you donate a certain amount then you are rewarded with an exclusive skein of yarn, and the rewards go up and down incrementally depending on how much. And I was in two minds as to whether to actually accept the reward, but then I thought, no, it's pretty, it's going to be pretty, and it's yarn, and yeah, I want some. So I did. I donated enough and accepted the reward of this beautiful skein of yarn, and it came with a pin badge as well, which I have misplaced, but it will be joining my other badges on my Yarns of Anarchy bag, which is made by Emma's Nice Things for Yarns of Anarchy. So it will be joining my other badges on there shortly. So that's it, that's acquisitions. There is another fairly major acquisition, and I will put a clip in of it here. I am bursting with excitement about this one. See you in a sec. This is a very exciting day because I have picked up my Christmas present, which is a heated airer. Hooray! I will never look this glamorous when dyeing yarn. I don't look this glamorous when hanging out the washing, full stop. Isn't it amazing? I am one very, very lucky girl. It's going to make such a difference to my dyeing, and with hopefully some shows coming up in the new year, it's going to make a huge difference. I am once again drinking from my Christmas mug that was made for me by a student in 2011, or painted for me by a student in 2011. It is bringing me just as much joy as it does every other day in the run up to Christmas each year, and it just reminds me that I am very, very lucky to have been a teacher and to be able to work with such wonderful young people. That's not to say that the wonderful young people are the ones that give you gifts, I just mean in general. I'm digging myself into a hole tonight, aren't I? So yeah. And on that note, I thought I would talk to you about some of my favourite Christmassy crafts that have happened, are happening, and share a little bit of that with you this week, as of course it is a festive special. So usually we have two Christmas trees up. We have this big beast of a Christmas tree here, which is right next to me, which is a 7-footer. And we have the little Christmas tree that I purchased from Wilkinson's in my very first year of uni for the princely sum of £10 that goes up every year. And that is the tree that typically this sort of thing goes onto. This is a handmade felt tree decoration in the shape of a tree that was made for me by another student, I believe in the same year, I'm pretty certain in the same year as the young lady who painted the Christmas mug for me. This young lady had a real passion for sewing. She was a brilliant textile student. She was also an incredibly well-read young lady. I know I'm talking about her in the past tense, but I mean at the time I knew her. Obviously she's a grown-up young lady now, so I don't know what she's up to these days, but incredibly well read. She joined in book group at lunchtime, challenged me to read The Hobbit, which was very mean of her. I'd been avoiding it successfully since I was in year 6 and they forced me to read it and I just hated it. But yeah, she held me accountable for that and presented me with I think this might have been when she was in year 8 that she gave me this beautiful hand-sewn Christmas tree decoration, and it just means so much to me. I'm so honoured that she chose me to be the recipient of one of her handmade decorations. She has used blanket stitch to go around and seam it. And she's done such a neat job. I mean, the spaces between the stitches are really, really even. So for a 12, 13-year-old girl, I'm really impressed. So I have been holding on to this, but I am now going to put it onto my tree. And there it is, hanging there. So we only have the one tree this year, so this year it can go on this tree. This is something else that I'd absolutely love to try. It is machine embroidery, and I was presented a couple of years ago now by my lovely friend Sally with a whole bunch of these beautiful machine embroidered snowflakes, which you put on invisible thread and hang, and they just look really, really effective. I haven't yet got around to putting them on the invisible thread. They tend to just get scattered around the house at Christmas time and look pretty and festive. And again, reminding me of a very dear friend. We did have a bit of a joke with my auntie. She said that she tried to look for the invisible thread to hang these up with, but she couldn't find it because of course she couldn't see the invisible thread. Get it? I was a bit slow. So there we are. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, the final thing that I have been up to is putting the finishing touches to a bookmark that I made using cross stitch earlier in the year. I've just been putting the final touches onto it. And I will be attaching felt to the back to hide all the insightly ends there, and that will be another finished object for a Christmas present. I'm actually planning on putting this one into the Christmas Eve box that I'm putting together for my husband and my in-laws, as a little something for my lovely mother-in-law. So there we are. I've used whole stitches only, and I had fun finding a motif an alphabet online for this one. Really pleased with it. So yeah, I think that'll be quite nice. I did have a work in progress of red work to show you, but I've lost it. No idea where it is. No idea. So instead I've brought down this, which you can just about see is a stocking outline with a snowman drawn onto it that I created for the Christmas Crafternoon for Mind that I hosted last year. I put these in crackers and I designed 3 or 4 different types. Put them in crackers with everything you need. It's got the sparkly felt backing and I can never remember what this is called. It's got a technical term, this thread. broderie anglaise. I put the broderie anglaise in there that you needed to finish it, and also a John James gold-plated 24-point needle. So it had all of those in, and I had a couple spare. So I think I'm going to make this one evening perhaps, but I would like to find my red work, which is Noel bunting, which has been on the go for several years and is so close to being finished. I really could have had it finished for this year, and actually I saw it just a few weeks ago and have since lost it, so goodness knows where that's got to. So that is on the cards for one evening. The other thing I found when I was having a clear out are these teddy bear panels. Now, if anyone's got any suggestions as to what practically I could do with these strips of teddy bear panels, I would absolutely love to know. I had grand ideas when I bought these several years ago, and I mean several. We're talking at least 10. I had grand ideas of making this into some sort of cushion, but now, being a bit more of a sewist, I'm not entirely sure how I do it. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the teddy bear squares. And as you can see, they do repeat in 2 different styles. So if you've got any ideas as to what I could do let me know, and I might try and do something over the Christmas break and see if I can make something there. Might end up being a gift for someone, who knows. I'm a bit late with some of my Christmas shopping. Have you finished yet? I mean, if you're watching this on Christmas Eve, then I kind of hope you have, because whoops, otherwise a bit stressful. I'm in that kind of weird thing where you are so tired in the run up to Christmas and you're not entirely sure what's going on anymore, or which way indeed is up, if any way is up. I went to Tesco's this morning to just get some little bits for brunch, and ended up, to my horror, realising that the vegetables were almost entirely sold out already. I mean, that's just absolutely crackers. So I ended up doing a massive shop and having to lug the whole lot home up the hill, which isn't too far, but it's up a steep hill. And when you have got bags of parsnips and potatoes and Brussels sprouts and a joint of ham, it actually takes its toll. And I am slightly delirious this evening, which seems to be the pattern for the podcast these last few weeks. I've said a few times I've been slightly delirious and a bit overtired, but if you could put up with my nonsense, then brilliant. Okay, so I am going to have a couple of weeks break. I thought about podcasting next week on day after Boxing Day, on Thursday. I think I'm just going to be a little bit too tired, and I think maybe I'm just going to have the whole fortnight off. So I'm going to take next week off of podcasting. I'll be back in the new year. The shop is shut now. The Etsy shop is now closed. It will be reopening on either the 6th of January or the following weekend. So I will keep you posted on the old Instagram about that. If you follow me there, you'll find out everything you need to know. I'm going to have just take some time for me, first of all, over the actual Christmas holiday itself, to do some personal selfish crafting and do things that I really want to do. That's not to say I don't want to do things for the project bag. It's just that, well, that's work, isn't it? And that's lovely, but I also like to do other things that aren't work related. So yeah, I'm going to try and finish some whips. Yeah, you heard it here. I can hear you laughing now. All right, I know. Finishing whips is not exactly my thing, but hey, this could be it. I am totally not going to manage to go into the new year with clean needles. I mean, why? Why do I even need to? But I would like to get a few things off the needles if I can, and see if I can do that. And yeah, come back in the new year, possibly with a slightly refreshed look to the podcast. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like yet, but I'm having a think about having some tweaks. I mean, I'm 17 episodes in now, so naturally I know what I'm doing, and I'm an old hat at this, and I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I've been winging it for the last 17 episodes, and thank you so much for coming on this crazy ride with me, especially to those of you that have been watching since the very beginning, those of you that have subscribed and are coming back week after week. That's just incredible, and I am so grateful to have your company, to have your support, to read your comments on Vlogmas and on the episodes and in Ravelry, and to see people joining in, and it's just wonderful, and it's filled me full of Christmas cheer. And actually, as I'm aware some of you won't be watching this until Christmas Eve, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you. I have decided to go into the Ravelry group, see how many members we've got, plug those numbers into the random number generator, and I'm going to select some people at random from the Ravelry group to gift a pattern to. So there are going to be 2 people who are going to be the recipients of patterns from their wish lists, and their names are going to be showing up along the bottom just here right about now. Happy Christmas from me to you, just a little lucky dip thing, totally off the cuff, not planned, but there we are. So thank you very much for your support this year. I hope that you enjoy your patterns that I'm selecting from your wish lists. Yeah, and actually talking about wish lists and prizes, it is very nearly the end of the Great Festive Cast on Cal. It actually finishes on Monday, which is Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Eve I'll be closing the finished objects thread, and I will be drawing winners at some point over the festive period and be giving you those, announcing those. I am planning on drawing 3 winners, I think. I've just got to confirm that I've got 3 prizes. There will be either 2 or 3 winners, and they are going to win a project bag and a skein of yarn, a skein of my hand-dyed yarn. I have yet to make the project bags. I'm going to make them up fresh, and I have yet to select for definite what the yarn is, but it will be a skein of my hand-dyed yarn and a project bag each. Just to say thank you so much for your support. Well done you for your festive knitting, and to make sure you cast something on quickly in the new year and join me with all the whips. So that's what's up for grabs for that. That's all the podcasting news. I guess what remains really is to talk a little bit about what I'm planning on doing in the future, and over the next couple of weeks, and what we can expect in 2019. Looking ahead, looking back. Let's talk about, let me share with you what some of the things that I might be doing over the Christmas break, and then you can place your bets and see what you think I'm actually going to get done. So, I want to finish my Selbu mittens. Here they are in all their glory, in the grey and yellow that is Springfield Farmers yarn, 100% wool, absolutely gorgeous. I want to finish them. This is the first mitten, so we'll see. This is going to get some love. Also on the cards to be finished is that scarf that I showed you. I would like to work on the sleeves of my Drops design sweater that I'm working on for my grandma, that was meant to be for Christmas last year and has also not made it for Christmas this year. Christine's cardigan is underway. As you know, I was doing the back. The front. I have actually loaned the cable out to a friend to do a last minute Christmas gift with. So that's that isn't going to be finished anytime soon. But I'm very hopeful that it will be finished for the new year, but we shall see. That's an awful lot of cardigan to do. I would like to work on some spinning. I would absolutely love to work on some spinning over the holidays, and some red work, and I've got some crochet that I'd like to work on as well. And I've got some more bits here. I've been going through my bags upstairs. As I said, I'm having a tidy up, having a clear out, and I have come across some crafting things that I bought or have been given and I would really like to work on. This was, I think, a Christmas present last year. It's a bag kit by Debbie Shaw, and it has everything in it that you need to make that gorgeous bag, which is super pretty. and I really would like to make that. I also have a cross stitch bag that I was making for my aunt for her birthday back in May, which didn't get finished. I was not in the best place to be crafting then really at all. I started it, I'd made one for a friend in April. It took me forever to make it. I started it in March and it took me until nearly the end of April to make, and I had to really force myself to do it because that's just where I was with regards to my crafting journey. But I was really pleased with it. It had, I'll try and put some photos in here, but it was essentially a cross shape that folded in on itself. So it had a popper fastening and you opened it up almost envelope style, and then the internal bits opened out as well. So the central bit inside had a pocket to put your pattern in and a magnetic pattern board because it was a birthday gift, so I put the magnetic board in as well for cross stitch. It had 2 D-rings with a DMC silks organizer attached, which flipped up, and then on the side panels one had a scissor keep and pin cushion, and the other had a tag to keep your rings, your crochet rings, your cross stitch rings in, and it had a pocket as well. And then the folded down panel that first folds down before they open out has a zipped pocket in it for you to keep your embroidery silks in and any other little bits and pieces, any notions that wouldn't fit otherwise. And I was making one for my aunt as well, who's a very keen sewer and cross stitcher. And I've got the most beautiful fabric and it's going to be absolutely lovely, but I just didn't get around to doing it. I was not in the right place to be doing it. I don't know why. I started to make such an ambitious project with where I was, and I actually also told her I was making it. And of course I want to finish it. I just wish I hadn't said right there and then that that's what I was doing. So that's on the cards as well. I want to have a look at that and maybe get that out. That won't be within the next week because we've got family visiting, and it's just going to be small projects that do not require the entire table or my sewing machine. As well with the sewing, I was bought this by my dad. It's a kit to make a cushion. It is actually printed and then you embroider over bits of it, and obviously make the cushion, attach the ribbon, put the cushion pad in. It actually retailed at £34.99 originally in Hobbycraft, and we got it in the sale for £7, so it was quite a bargain. But nevertheless, if I don't make it, that's still £7 down the toilet, isn't it, effectively? And actually I really do want to make it, and it was going to be for the nursery, and it still will be because there's still bluebirds in that room and it will look lovely. But there we are, so I'm going to be making that. Another option that I could make, which really is only applicable for the next few days, depending what sort of thing I'm in the mood for making wise, are these little gift tags, which actually came free with a cross stitch magazine. Does it say the name of the magazine on here? No, it just says Future Publishing, and I'm not entirely sure. And it comes with everything you need. So it's got the Ada there, which is the material you cross stitch onto if you're not familiar with cross stitch, and some really beautiful tags to mount it onto. A lot of my presents have been wrapped in plain brown paper this year, so actually that would make a really lovely finishing touch. And if they don't get done for this year, then I can do them ahead and have them ready for next year, and I can have them ready for next year now, which can't be a bad thing, can it? Yet another option is another sewing project. I haven't got the picture because I've taken it out of the bag and now I can't find it. But it is actually an embroidery notions keep. You make a pin cushion and a scissor keep and things like that, and it's made in felt and fabric. It's designed by Mandy Shaw, who is Dandelion Designs, who you may have seen years ago on Kirsty's Handmade Christmas. Or it might have been Kirsty's Christmas Crafts. I think it was the very first incarnation when she taught Kirsty how to make a Christmas stocking. And since then she's just kind of exploded. You see her on the craft channel a lot. I can't remember the name. I think it's Sewing Quarter she often appears on, teaching various things. She has taught classes at Kirsty's Handmade Fair, and I've attended a couple of her classes, and her products are just gorgeous. So I treated myself to this at Kirsty's Handmade Fair a couple of years ago. Again, it isn't done. Oh, side note, what was it I called it? I think it was a sewing machine cover, and I can't think what I called it. I said, oh, look at that, a toaster cover. It's a sewing machine cover, Gemma. Come on, it's a sewing machine cover. But there we are. So as you can see, I am absolutely not short of crafts to do over the Christmas period. I don't know how many of them I'm going to do. I might do some, I might do none, who knows? We'll see. With regards to a Christmas Eve cast on, I actually have no plans to cast on anything new at the moment. I have my my dress that I cast on just a little while ago. There is a particular jumper, and the name of it I cannot remember, but there's a 16-week knit along to make this jumper. I'm going to hopefully dye yarn for that tomorrow, be a bit indulgent and use some of my own hand-dyed yarn for a project. And the cast on date, the earliest you can cast on for that is Christmas Eve, so maybe that will happen. But yeah, with regards to other crafty things, I'm going to be doing some baking tomorrow, making some chutney. If you're watching Vlogmas, then obviously you can see that there. Yeah, and that's it really. The only other thing I want to talk about ever so briefly, if you don't mind me sharing this. You might recall that I went to a pyrography stand earlier in the week, last week, and got a personalised wooden pencil case for my young cousin. The pencils were personalised as well, and it was really, really beautiful. And when I went to pick it up, I asked him if he wouldn't mind personalising a Christmas decoration for us. And I'm going to share it now, because actually there's just something really lovely that goes along with it. So I chose a hanging wooden heart, as you can see here. This is the heartwood. We believe it's oak, and then this is the, well, I can't remember what it's called, the technical term, but this is the outside of it. And it's actually got a live edge as well. If you can see here, it's got a little bit of moss. So a little bit of moss there. And I asked him to personalise it, and I showed him the image that I wanted used, which was from the Lara's Legacy logo that Amy of Sorella Designs kindly designed for our daughter's legacy that we are setting up in the process of sorting out. And I wanted her name, so we had a decoration for her, and this is what he produced. It's absolutely beautiful, and it means so much. And I actually, before he had chance to do it, because he does a lot of it while you wait, and he's very, very neat, very, very good. But before he had chance to actually do it, sorry, I'm just putting it back on the tree and making sure it's hanging the right way. I popped back to ask if he could personalise something else for us as well, which I shan't say too loudly here because it is a Christmas gift. Again, in the same sort of vein. And when I went to pick it up on Wednesday night before I went to Knit and Natter, he's very, very generously given his fee to Lara's Legacy. He's an absolutely wonderful man, very, very talented. His work is beautiful. Has a whole range of things. He does have a card, he does have a website. I'm going to put all the information just down here for you. If I can't find it in time, I will pop it in the description box, because I'm not entirely sure what I've done with this card, to be honest with you, but I just wanted to share that. And also, while we're on the note of talking about Christmas decorations and things that are handmade by artisans, I wanted to share this one from last year, which I was in two minds about whether or not to put up, but I have decided to put it up, and I'm very glad I have. This was made by Masey and Casey too. she is very talented and personalises all sorts of wonderful things. And last year she was doing these beautiful perspex Christmas decorations that were personalised, and I got this one done. I don't know how well you can see that. You see the dye on my hands from doing my hair. So it says, oh, I need to find something to put it against so you can see. So it says Christmas 2017, Daddy, Mummy and Bump, Archie and Kit Line. And her work's absolutely amazing. I've had a couple of bits from her, and so I'll put her details down here as well. Her shop is now also closed for Christmas, but she does things all year round, personalised bits for birthdays, Father's Day, Mother's Day, all of that. Absolutely brilliant. School tags for school bags, things like that as well. Really, really lovely. And so I just wanted to share that and give a little shout out there as well. Oh, okay, so I have probably forgotten about a gazillion things. I just have been thinking back over the past few months from my very first podcast when I shared what had happened at Fibre East and started podcasting. Since then, I have been on the most crazy journey this year. It's been amazing. 2018 has been one of the hardest years of my life. It's been the hardest year of my life. For obvious reasons, but it's also had some of the most beautiful moments in it. It's had the best day of my life, hands down, and you all know what that is. But it's also brought new friends. Like with many things, you know, it's also ended relationships, but it has forged amazing new relationships as well. And you thought I wasn't going to say the P word, didn't you, this week? Be honest, you thought, oh, is this going to be the first week that Gemma doesn't say the P word? But no, I'm going to, because actually 2018 had Perth, and that festival has just done so much for me, in the sense that it's given me a sense of belonging, and it's introduced me to some amazing new friends. It's given me confidence to carry on with this, which is just brilliant. But mostly, as I say, the friendships that I've made since then are just amazing. I've released my own hand-dyed yarn, which I was honestly planning on chickening out of, and then my lovely, lovely friend Amy decided to just share on her podcast that I dye yarn. Thank you, Amy. But again, it gave me the kick up the backside I needed to just go for it and do it, and I am so glad. It's amazing to see my yarn growing up to be various projects that's out in the wild. That's incredibly exciting. I love dyeing yarn. I also have a feature in Yarn People magazine, the new e-zine. I was very lucky to be a sponsor for that. So if you haven't got it yet, do check it out. And there is an opportunity to win a skein of my yarn, which actually you cannot get in the shop at the moment. It is, at the moment, it's fairly exclusive. I just haven't dyed enough to pop it into the shop. It's actually going to be a colourway for next year, so but you can get your hands on it first, as 'twere, if you perhaps join in with that giveaway. So do look out for Yarn People's Instagram, etc, etc. It's also been amazing. I've had amazing support for my Etsy shop, which is just brilliant. I've been lucky to be part of the Just a Card campaign, which I'll put a picture of my badge here because I haven't got it with me, which is, as many of you know, the campaign to just make people aware that there are ways of supporting small independent businesses. It doesn't have to be with money. It can be with, you know, sharing things that you like, commenting on social media, or even actually, just buying a card. Just the smallest product you can get from someone, you know, in my case a stitch marker, could help that business stay alive. And it's been lovely because I've actually been introduced to a lot more makers this year through it than I would know of, which is great, and people that I can purchase from in the future. I've already got some birthday gifts in mind for next year. Obviously the podcast has started, which is just amazing. I've got some really exciting things in the works. I'm actually going to announce this now. I can't remember I can't remember if I alluded to this or not earlier in the year, but actually when I was at Perth, I took a shawl design class, and I chatted with Hutch, who is Dye Candy, who commented that she knew my bag, or she liked my bag because I was wearing Truly Hooked's bag, and Verity and Hutch are best mates. And we got talking, and she realised who I was because of the Lara socks. Gave me the most amazing hug, and I was talking to her about my pattern designs, and she has offered to collaborate with me and dye exclusive yarn for the release of my first charity design, which we are working on having to come out in the spring. So that's really exciting, and Verity also wants to be involved in that as well, which is just mind-blowing. I've had so much support and generosity from people with their time and their encouragement and other things as well to help me start as a new business, which is just amazing. And as I say, the support for Lara's legacy and what I'm trying to do there is just fills my heart. Starting to fill in some of the cracks in it. It's just brilliant, really, just incredible. I'm in danger of getting quite gushy. Yeah, so that's really exciting. And talking about pattern design, of course, I've had 2 patterns come out so far this year. I have an absolutely incredible tech editor who's so patient with me. Absolutely amazing. Very, very lucky to be working with her, and had the opportunity to interview the beautiful Tabitha of Sweet Georgia Designs, Sweet Georgia Yarns, sorry. She's the design director. That interview is on my channel, and that was just wonderful to get to meet her. Yeah, it's just been an absolutely incredible few months since September. It's taken me in a whole new direction that I never even dreamt I'd be going in, creatively and otherwise as well. And it brings me back to wanting to say thank you to all of you who have tried the podcast, who have subscribed. If you are new, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe hitting the bell. It'll tell you when I upload new videos, which typically is once a week. And hopefully you'll join me for more of the journey in 2019, when hopefully some much more exciting things will come. I have applied to a couple of shows. I intend to apply to a couple more. So hopefully I will be having the opportunity to vend at some of them. If not, I intend to visit a fair few in my guise as podcaster. So I would love for you to introduce yourselves to me this time. I say this time because someone said, hello, I like your jumper, and then sent me an Instagram message later on going, oh, that was me. And I'm there like, well, who are you? Why didn't you say? I don't know. Because I am just as shy. It's like I'm like a spider, you know. I'm far more scared of you than you are of me. If I'm like a spider, Voldemort and a spider. We've had some interesting allusions in today's podcast, haven't we? What's new for next year? Obviously, I've got more courses coming up. I'm launching a newsletter. There we are. I'm launching a newsletter in the spring. So yeah, I will share more details about that on my Instagram grid, and that will keep you up to date with what's going on with the shop updates. And I won't be having big shop update sections in the podcast. What's new, where I'm going to be, if there's going to be recipes and things on the blog. Incidentally, do check out my recipe for my what's the word? Black Forest Yule log. It's a really, really lovely recipe. You can find it on the page. I'm also going to be uploading my recipe for chutney onto the blog as well, because I'm going to be making that this week. So do keep an eye out for that. Yeah, so there's some other bits that I've kind of got under my hat at the moment. But yeah, that's where we're going with 2019. Oh, and craft-alongs. 2 new craft-alongs kicking off first thing in the new year. So I will be sharing those with you in the very first podcast when we come back. All that remains for me to say is that I hope you have a really gentle, peaceful holiday season, and that as far as possible, it is filled with the things that make your heart sing, that fill your cups. I've said before, it's not an easy time of year for everybody, and I'm here. I hear you. My heart is with you. thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in 2019. Take care.